What is up, everybody? It is Thursday night. Thursday night means one thing. We are back with Doc Talk. The Jackson Kayak team is behind the scenes. We've got a new live panel for you guys tonight. Let's kick this thing off. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hold on. There we go. The button is live tonight. We've got a new esteemed panel for the 20th episode of Doc Talk. I feel like we've done something that we've made 20 episodes on this thing. They're a little bit fewer and further between here these days, but that's good. It's fishing season. Everybody's outside playing. First of all, to pay them bills real quick, we are proudly here because of Jackson Kayak. So thanks to Jackson Kayak, go pick you up some cool accessories, underseat bags, bow hatches, Flex Drive 3 Mark 4s. Check out our cool boats at jacksonkayak.com. Pick yourself up an Orion cooler. Also, thanks to some other people that help us out. Basco Fishing, keeping some cool threads going on, and Z Pro Lithium batteries keeping Zach Bailiff and I powered as we and Nick too, as we go throughout this whole season this year doing the Orion podcast, taking photos and all that fun stuff. Last but not least, our new friends at Cast King. Thanks them for getting us some flashy new reels and keeping us on the move, man. That's all good stuff. But anyway, enough with that stuff. People really want to hear from you guys. So we're going to go around the room, introduce everybody tonight. We will start with Joshua Evans. Tell the people a little bit about you, where you hail from, and what kind of Jackson kayak you're fishing in this year.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Hey, what's up? Joshua Meck Evans. I'm out here in Brunswick, Maryland. I've been with Jackson Kayak for, I don't know, somewhere between 8 and 10-ish years. I fish out of a Kusa X. I got that limited edition yellow jacket in. Pretty nice. And an RFD as well. I just got rid of my limited edition Red Dawn, and I got a special one coming. So, yeah.
Notes from the audience. This is look at all the beards tonight. This is a quality bearded episode brought to you by somebody wants to send us some beard oil. All of us would take it.
Absolutely.
Moving to my lower right, which however you look at it on your screen, Mr. Jesse, tell everybody a little bit about you. What Jackson Kayak you're fishing out of this year, and where you hail from?
Well, Jesse Lashbeer. I'm live in Palm Coast right now, but I'm fishing out of the Blue Sky right now, the 360 Angler. It's been a great boat. Had it over a year now, plus the other one I've had in the past. And so I had the Camo the year before that with the 3D drive, and now I have the Mark IV and the Tiger Shark. And I love it, man. It's great.
Yeah, you've nabbed some big ones out of that Blue Sky, and it looks good on you, man. It looks good on you.
Thank you.
Up top right corner, we have the one, the only, Mr. the Opportunistic Outdoorsman, the one, the only, from Team Orion, Nick Brummett.
Hey, everybody. So I'm from Bedford, Indiana, same as Chad. I've been fishing out of the Kusa FD for a few years, and finally got the Mark IV upgrade just this past weekend. Hi, buddy.
How kind of hobby.
Cool.
Who was those?
Hi.
Who got out of that?
Come on,
He's on TV. He's
Yeah.
famous.
Hey.
He'll be excited.
we're live. That's my son Shocky, everybody. You've seen him on your ride and stuff too.
Yep, absolutely. So first things first, man. It's fishing season. Everybody's been out hitting the different areas. Everybody's happy. Seen Coosa X. Got some Coosa X pictures in from Josh. Seen some Coosa X or some blue sky stuff from Jesse. Nick and I have been filming on some other projects with the Coosa FD. But yeah, so everybody's kind of from a different space, tonight. Josh is a proper bassin man. Jesse is a proper saltwater man, and Nick likes it all. If it flies, if it grunts in the woods, if it squawks like a bird, it don't matter what kind of fish it is. He wants to catch it. If he ain't caught it, it's on the list. So very, very diverse panel tonight, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So let's. That's kind of a good place to start in this. People, look at a lot of our boats and the different things that they do, and you all are using different boats. How do you feel that Jackson Kayak, do you feel, have a boat for every opportunity that's out there? How does your boat relate to the different opportunities for your area? And whoever wants to start it.
I'll jump in. For me, yeah, absolutely. Jackson offers a plethora of boats, pretty much one or more for every fishing style type you could imagine. I travel nationally, fish a lot of tournaments. So my NAR FD is usually my primary boat on anything big water or larger bodies of water where I'm covering lots of miles. But I got the Coosa X this year, and I will tell you what, that's a lot more versatile of a boat than some might imagine. Obviously, with the Coosa legacy, the legacy behind Coosa, the name, it is a river kayak. The whole shape, every little detail that the entire team of JK team members that pitched in on really came out with just a well-rounded river platform. But I actually made that my primary tournament rig this year as well. I'm not fishing anything with pedals this season, so I've got an 1103 on the back, and I can either use it in the river or skinny creeks, backwaters and stuff. It's got a nice draft on it, and yeah, I mean it does it all. I'm digging it a lot.
And the pictures you sent me earlier with the 1103 on the back, dude, it looks like you're riding a freaking Willie out there.
I'll tell you what, that's funny actually. Me and Scylla Johnson, another JK teammate, were out pre-fishing for an event, and she took a picture and sent it to me, and I started laughing. It looked like I was in a drag race,
Oh yeah.
But I didn't have it balanced out for the right weight distribution, and I was taking it back into some pretty skinny stuff. So actually having the weight sitting back a little bit like that helped me get through some real skinny stuff, funny enough, over some little humps and things that I otherwise wouldn't have.
Right on. Let's see here. Let's do a little present here. I want to show everybody that picture that's watching on the live because I like it. So we're gonna do a quick little share screen.
Well, I'll tell you, it already rides pretty high up on the water, in the front especially because it's made for kind of navigating those whitewater sections and things of that nature. But when you put a 290-pound dude close to the back and a motor on there that moves, man, it gets.
Everybody see that?
Get you right up on.
Coming up on a point.
Hey, don't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing wheelies. I like it. So,
and I'll tell you what. So one last thing before somebody jumps in, just sitting flat in the water, one paddle stroke. I think Chris Funk said it when we launched it. One paddle stroke, it's a 180-degree turn.
Mhm.
Man, that's absolutely true. And with that torpedo on the back like that, man, I'm sitting there doing a 360. I literally don't go anywhere, and it's kind of cool, man. It's fun. I don't know. If you're not fishing and just messing around, it's a fun little tool to have for sure.
And I believe that Jeff Little also does that in his video, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Does
local
donut
here,
where
actually.
he demoed it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. The way it sits in the water and the way the whole shape, it's got a lot of cool rocker to it, but still stable. I can stand in that thing all day if I want.
We've had some pretty high water, so I haven't had a chance to get mine out just yet. But the time is coming; it's very, very near. I'm ready to get set up and
Highly
get it out of the water.
encouraged.
How about you, Jesse? What do you got? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh man, as far as versatility, I think that's why I've got more than just my blue sky. We were talking about the blue sky, but also, I still have my Cuda 14, which was my first Jackson. I have the Cuda HD. I have the big tuna. So as far as versatility for the family, the big tuna is great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that Kusa is great. My little brother and one of my buddies came over, and I put them in that, and actually pulled them around a little bit on a little skiff I had that was just trolling motor, and just to get them in the back, and it was so fun. They loved it. My brother was used to riding the Cuda 14,
Mm-hmm.
but once he got on that Kusa and he was able to stand, he he was like, "Oh, I'm going out in this from now on." So yeah, just having the versatility, depending on what I'm doing. If going out in the little river, you take the Kusa. If I'm going out for a long just paddle, just kind of cruising, I'll take that Cuda 14 out.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time right now, I've gotten stuck to my blue sky. It's kind of got me spoiled,
Blue sky.
especially I put that Orion on the back and I can stand up and sight cast from that. And once I found that out, I was like, oh, this is kind of like being on skiff. So
Mm-hmm.
and that Mark IV drive now is just, I mean, like I said, I had the previous one with a 3D drive, and that was a good drive, but it's night and day difference now as far as speed. I find myself getting, I go cover back, getting some back marsh, and
Mm-hmm.
I find I'm way back there than what I used to be. I'd launch around the same time, but I'd be way back there now, and it's like, oh, this is a different, different monster.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, no, I mean, that's why, that's why. Oh, that's one of my buddies right there. One of my local buddies. He's got a bait a lure company just starting up a few years ago called Skinny Water Lures. But yeah, but it's been fun. The blue sky is. I got a tournament not this weekend, but next weekend for the 5th round of the Florida Redfish Series, and that'll be my second round to qualify me for the championship round in September. That'll be a 2-day, but luckily this round will be in my backwaters. So it's always good when a round comes around your back local waters, but at the same time I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah,
a little bit
a little
extra
different
pressure.
Yeah, and it's added. You add a lot of
Sure.
self pressure. I think
Sure.
when you're on your local waters, and
Gets in your head.
You got an expectation.
Yep. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
the
Expectations at the local bait shop. You can't
Sure.
walk in looking a fool.
Sure. That versatility on all the boats. I mean, that's why I think I got, and I've held on to them and will continue to. And I mean, that little skiff we were talking about, I'm going to sell that pretty soon, and that'll be a NAR and a Bite FD. Even though I wasn't supposed to say that, I was going to try to keep that a little secret, but I guess we'll
drop the ball.
I did. I dropped the ball. Sorry.
That's all right. Heard it here on Doc.
I'm excited. It's my first time, So.
Yeah. Hey, everybody has the first time.
Yeah, that's it.
Sometimes it goes and you can't control it, man. Just let it go.
Yeah.
He's excited.
I'm excited.
We'll tell the story about him and Jameson hanging out here in a little bit, Josh.
Oh boy.
Do tell.
How about you, Nick? Being a Coosa, you've had several boats, but the Coosa FD is your primary boat right now. How does that fit the bill for fishing around the local area, and how do you feel about its adaptability?
I tell you what, I don't think there's much that Coosa FD can't do. It may not be the best at everything, but it is highly capable of everything I put it into. Whether if it's a little skinny creek that's just barely wide enough to turn it around, or if it's a big lake and 3-foot rollers, it eats it up. I've never once felt uncomfortable in that boat. It just keeps chugging. And with this new Mark IV drive system, it just chugs even faster. It's just, we put it in the water, and I hit the pedals in 2 strokes, and I felt the front end raise. I was like, whoa, that's different. That's a whole another animal now.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
that's a very interesting thing. And people that haven't felt that Mark IV and they haven't got in a boat and like actually tested it and run it, it the first time you get a couple pedal strokes, it does.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember getting in the NAR
yeah,
and those first
hmm
couple pedal strokes, you definitely feel the bow of the boat just rise.
yeah,
How about you, Josh?
yeah.
Did you notice that the first time you ever took off in it?
I'll tell you what, Jameson came out here before we launched it, and at first, I mean, as it was, I sat there for 30 minutes just walking around it, saying curse words silently
Mm-hmm.
and smiling. But we got out on my local lake to do some content, and he's like, "Yeah, man, take it out. Let's see what you think." And boy, I lost my mind. I mean, it was super fast. You know, the
hmm
steering was super responsive. It was laid out. Everybody again. That was the first iteration of what now is uh, a lot of team member feedback really being incorporated into the boat design, and to get out there and feel that Mark IV and see all the little touches and subtle things that all of us on the team said we want this in a boat. This is what will sell, but this is
Mm-hmm.
what we as tournament anglers or big water fishermen, this is what we want to see in our ultimate kayak. And Tony Lee killed it with the shaping, and then the rest of the design team made it come to life. And damn, that's a damn good boat. I love that thing.
It is. It's a fast boat. It does so many things well. It took a little fine. It took me some fine tuning, but I got it where I'm happy with it. And yeah, it's hard to imagine going backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
It really is. I mean, I love them all. I love my bite. I've loved the Kusa. I have not pedaled, Jesse. I've not pedaled the Blue Sky with the Mark IV drive. I will openly admit that. I would like to try it though. I'd like to see if that thing can boot and scoot.
Well, I'm hoping there's a video out there somewhere with me, Jameson, and Dustin. Maybe maybe got into a little bit of a drag race when they had their
I'd like
1103s.
to see that. I'll be one of the first
And
people to
I was
actually do
just on the
that.
Blue Sky, but I work on horses for a living mainly. So these quads got a little power to them. So I cranked on that Mark IV drive, and I stayed with them for a second. It was funny. They were like, "What are you doing?" Like I'm keeping up with y'all. So even on that big boat like that, it was fun. It was good times.
That,
yeah.
that's actually a pretty good topic. Most people just see us fellers online. They don't know what you guys really do. I mean, so let's kind of get into that. Jesse, I'll let you elaborate a little bit more on your actual day to day. What does Jesse look like off the water?
Oh man, I'm a second generation farrier, what they call. I work on horses,
Heck yeah.
work on their hooves. I'm been doing it. June the 1st will actually be 20 years now. Started pretty much a
Wow.
couple weeks out of high school, and been around it my whole life with my old man doing it. He started right out of the army in 1972, and then like I said, I started June 2003, and been doing it ever since. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's my my breadwinner, I guess.
Very cool.
That's cool.
It's fun. It's an interesting job. It's
Oh,
it's a
never a
job
dull
that can be
moment, I'm sure.
dangerous. There's never a dull moment for sure. I try not to do too many bad ones anymore, but at the same time, you get those. You get one that has five or so, and three of them, three or four of them stand completely still, and then there's that one that's just complete idiot. I mean, there's nothing else
There's
to
always
say
a
about it.
troublemaker.
Yeah, and then you try to be, try not to whoop them up or anything like that. Be calm with them and stuff like that, because there's no sense in that. Back in the day, they'd cowboy them up and call them breaking the spirit and stuff like that. And
We
no,
don't
I
see
don't,
you on
I don't.
Yellowstone.
No, yeah, no. I yeah, it's
Mm.
it's different, especially in Florida. Because boy, in the summertime, it's a different animal. From about 11 till
Mm.
4 or 5, it's that humidity. Yeah,
I thought people in Florida though, I thought they only worked till like noon.
no, yeah. Well, sometimes do that, take a little siesta, and then go back out.
Siesta. Yeah, I like it. How about you, Joshua? Tell us a little bit about the day to day. What's Joshua Evans look like when he's off the water?
Man, I look like a lot of things. Right now, I look like an old man. I'm getting up there. Um,
Jesse's
uh,
going to be 40.
hey, I'm 40. I'll be 40. I don't even know anymore, bro.
September.
I'm somewhere in the 40s. But
Me too, buddy. Me
yeah,
too.
yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I'm a husband and father. Got a bunch of beautiful kiddos and a beautiful wife. They keep me grounded. Um, aside from that, professionally, disabled veteran. I run restaurants. In the process of purchasing a local business. Stay tuned on that one. And yeah, I mean, I do everything I can when I'm not working with my family. I try to help out other disabled vets, either through Heroes on the Water or different veteran service organizations that are local to me.
Mhm.
And that's about it, man. Try to make the
For your
world a little bit
service.
better.
Yeah,
Thank
and
for
you
your
Awesome.
business.
guys have a little event coming up here in Maryland. Rudy was out there talking about it. Um,
Yeah,
another Heroes on the Water guy
yeah.
for the JK Trail this weekend. It looks like. Is it
No,
this weekend? It's
no. They, I think he was talking. So I've been the vice president for Mid Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing now for a bunch of years, and I stepped
Mhm.
down this season just to fish. Well, um, I'm back in helping running the organization again, and that's
Okay,
cool.
cool.
Pretty stoked. But we have our season opener. It's a 2 single day events on the Potomac River this weekend.
There we go.
Um, it's Mid Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing, and then Northern Virginia Kayak Bass Anglers have a series that's running, or an event running the same time on Saturday. So you can double dip there, and then Kayak Bass Fishing has their tournament trail series happening there as well. So an opportunity to triple dip for the weekend, and hopefully catch some nice checks. We'll see.
And on a good body of water.
Absolutely, Tidal Potomac this time of year is fire.
There you go. How about you, Mr. Brummett? What's Nick Brummett look like off the water? What's the day-to-day ritual?
Oh, just plain old work. It's just worked different manufacturing jobs over the years. Been a welder, worked at a stone mill. Currently working at a medical supply company that we build different catheters and wires, guides, and stuff for intravenous. What is it? How do they replace it? Low impact surgeries.
Mhm.
So
Everybody's
nothing
doing something.
exciting.
Hey, it's all exciting. Keeps the fish in the boat, boys. Keeps the fish in the boat.
Mhm.
So that being said, kind of off the wall topic here. Rudy says, "Pour him one, Josh."
I got you, Rudy. I don't know if you'd be ready for this one. This might get you. Little, little
See,
proprietary blend, you know?
there you go. There you go. So when you look at fishing, obviously you guys, one of the things that we do on Doc Talk is kind of talk about how you guys or not Doc Talk, but the Orion podcast. I kind of want to bring it into here because a lot of people haven't heard these backstories from you guys on the Doc Talk panels. How did you guys get started in fishing? Like, was it something you found later in life on your own? Was it something that come from a family member teaching you guys? How did it get going? And I'm actually going to let Nick start this one. We'll work backwards this time.
Man, as soon as you said that, I got transported back to a bean field along Indian Creek chasing grasshoppers with my dad. I remember that I was my son's age, 4 or 5 years old. So I've been doing this stuff my entire life. I don't know any other way of life. I talk to people that don't know how to clean a fish or skin a deer. I look at them like they're an alien. How do you not know this? This is common stuff. This is part of life. But yeah, I've grown up with that.
How about you, Jesse? How did it come about for you?
Oh, born into it. My old man, actually, his old man was a fisherman and stuff, but he passed away when my old man was about 16. So he actually grew up about 9 months out of the year in the Everglades. So he'd hunt, fish, trap, everything. So when I was born, it was growing up in South Florida. I was born in Miami, lived in Homestead. So we either got the airboat and the swamp buggy and went to the Everglades and my dad had 14 Walker hounds at one time. So we'd either hunt deer, go fishing, go on the airboats, or we'd take the other boats down to the Keys, or he had a 30-ish foot Grady White that we would go to the Bahamas every once in a while too. So living the swamp life and the salt life was pretty interesting. That was a really cool thing about growing up in South Florida, being able to go to both, being able, and then even going kind of tropical, running down to the Bahamas. So I've seen my fair share of monster gators and monster waves, as well, going down that way too. So monster, big marlins. Remember my old man sitting on a marlin for a couple of hours, fighting this thing, where he just couldn't reel it no more. He just was wore out, and I was a little knee high to a grasshopper, so I wasn't helping nothing. So, but just doing everything like that, being in the outdoors with them, on the airboats and stuff like that, and unfortunately, about 9 years ago, lost him to pancreatic cancer, and so it was tough getting into kayak fishing, because you'd want to call your old man to give him ask for the pointers, because if I had a picture around him, and he'd catch 40-inch snook like it was nothing down there in South Florida, so stuff like that, so but that's what keeps me going in it too, because got to keep his memory alive, and he taught me a few things before he passed, so that's definitely where I got my outdoors, living and stuff, was definitely from him.
Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Josh? How did you come to find yourself in the outdoors?
Well, first off, Jesse, that was dope. It reminds me a lot of me and my pops. When I was, I think 3, maybe 4, about 40 years ago now. My pops, Mike Evans, rest his soul. He just passed last year, but he used to he'd tell me the night before, "Hey boy, we're gonna go fishing in the morning," and I'd be like, "All right, cool." And we had this little dock that we'd go to in Newport Harbor, and had one little light over it, and it was going. It was a 24-hour dock, and he'd say, get up in the morning, get everything ready. So I'd get up in the morning, and I'd take a scoop of Nestle Quick powder, put in a coffee cup, and then we'd go down to 7-Eleven and get some of their busted coffee that's been there all night, and we'd roll out, right? And this is like I said, I'm 3-4 years old. This is when we started doing this, okay? Exact ritual every time. We get down there, get all the, take the cart with the tackle boxes and stuff out to the end of the dock, and he'd say, all right, cool, get everything ready, tie on the baits and stuff, right? So he started teaching me how to tie the Palomar knot, which I still use to this day. It's what the first thing he taught me. It's like tying your shoes, literally. And so I tie everything up, and then he would hand me my pole, and he wouldn't put bait on. He'd say, all right, see that buoy way out there? Start casting. And when you hit it, you're allowed to fish. Now, like, this guy, come on, right? But as the trips progressed, I would start hitting that joint every single time first cast. And that just really, as a kid, it kept me engaged. It gave me a goal, and it made me want to excel and be better at what eventually would be, a really passionate hobby or craft of mine. So I grew up fishing. He had I think it was an 18 or 19 foot center console Klamath aluminum boat and a little V-hole type joint. And we'd fish the bay. We'd go out to Catalina Island and chase, tuna and white sea bass and yellowtail and calicos and you name it, right? So I grew up on the salt. As I started getting older and kind of do my own thing, I would go out on the cattle boats. They called them like the big, 100+ people party boats out to Catalina and stuff. And I'd deckhand, when we were out there, or I'd help clean the boats on the way in, and that would be my ticket for the day, so I could fish most of the day for free. So I grew up doing that, and that was awesome. And then when I was staying with my mom and my stepdad, Brandy, he had a passion for, catching bass and crappie, anything freshwater, trout fish, and you name it. And, so he really got me like, wow. Like I remember the very first fish I ever caught on a lure was on a little 2-inch floating Rapala, crankbait that he gave me, and he took me out to Canyon Lake out in the middle of nowhere. It was a little private lake, but you could drive in the backside and still fish it. And I remember catching my first bass on a lure, and I was like, "Yo, that was freaking cool." Okay, And so I started really. This is before the internet, YouTube, all that, right? So I started, hey, can we get these other lures and try this? And that got, again, that curiosity got the cogs turning. And now, I mean, I lean on all that information and I've learned from it, and I continue. Even when I go out now, I'm learning something new about presentation, something like that. But it keeps that passion for fishing and the outdoors, at the forefront always.
Now, for all of you again, as we move through this, so shout out here to the audience. You guys are great out there in the comments. In about 15 minutes, I want you guys to drop some comments if you're in the audience for these guys. Ask these guys some questions. We're going to hold on to them, and we're going to have a random fire round here in about 15 minutes. So drop some questions in there, and we're going to get these guys. We're going to grill these guys. You guys can grill these guys. So drop comments. So let's talk about why kayak fishing? How did you start kayak fishing? How did you meet kayak fishing? What brought you to this point? And then we'll start with Josh and work back up towards Nick.
My first couple of times in a kayak, I was in the Army. And it was like, a MWR unit field day at the lake type thing. I remember, my wife and I, we went out in a 2-person kayak, and my wife doesn't like water. But I convinced her to go out there with me, and I was fly lining live minnows to trees on Belton Lake. And I hook into this gar that, I kid you not, is the length of the kayak that we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's like, "Josh, don't you dare. And it was like a really light line setup. And it just hooked it right up in the corner of its mouth. And it's towing us, man. And she's like, "Josh, dude, you're not bringing that in this boat." And she finally reached over and popped the line after it towed us around for a while because, she was freaking out. But aside from that, I was a tournament angler, bass boats, doing co-angler stuff and veteran events, things like that. And a buddy of mine said, "Hey, can you come out and be a guide with us at Heroes on the Water for our first event of the year?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know anything about kayaking. I've never been in a kayak." And he said, "Come on, man, we need people you can fish." I said, "Cool." So I went down to Dick's Sporting Goods and I bought like a little 10-foot Old Town Trip Angler is what it was, a little sit-in joint. And I went out there and, I thought I was the business. And then the same guy said, "Hey, I know you like tournaments and stuff. Why don't you come out to our local series, Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, cool." So like the next weekend I go out there and I get out there and there's just like rigs that are anywhere from looking just like mine to like $5,000 plus. And at that time, that's a lot of money for a kayak. You got fish finders and all this other jazz. And from there I was hooked, man. At the end of that season, I went out and I got my first Jackson, the big tuna. Flipped it, won some money, did a whole bunch of cool stuff, and here I am. Like I said, 9-10 years later.
There you go. I like
Love
that.
it.
How about you, Jesse? How'd kayak fishing come to find you?
Y'all. Kayak fishing show with Jim Salmons, to be honest with you.
Jimmy.
First time I watched that show, that was it. I was hooked. I was like, "Oh my God, you can fish out of a kayak. This is amazing." Yeah. Just watching that show, watching Jameson on that show, everybody else on the show. That was the start of a crazy thing now, I guess. Yeah, no, I got that Cuda 14. Now I had a little kind of hand-me-down little Kiwi kayak, I think it was called, or something. It was a little 9-foot sit inside that, I'm a bigger guy. And that thing was about that much of the water, water.
Right.
On a rough day, you definitely don't even go out, In fact, one time I did it in the evening, coming back in, had a little fish jump up, and it was the evening time, in your brackish water, so you don't know what that was, shark, gator, whatever. So I kind of did this, like, to lean away from it. Well, I leaned too far. Over I went. Couldn't get enough water out because I didn't have a bilge. But luckily,
Oh,
my
man.
buddy was with me, and so we just got enough water out. Or I'm holding on to his, and he's paddling, and I've got the knife in the other hand, and I'm just something's either gonna get me from this side. They're either gonna come in from the fresh water. It's gonna be a gator, or the shark's gonna come in from the bay. Yeah, what am I gonna do? And that was the last time I got in that thing, and pretty much went
That's what it'll be
to
like the first time you take me, Jesse,
yeah
down there in the swamp.
yeah no then I went to Bass Pro. Went to Bass Pro, got a little Bass Pro kayak. Literally took it out in the tidal waters for the day and watched it off that day. Took it back and maybe told them they had about maybe about 8 inches of water in it. So I got my money back because that thing was a tank. It was just a barge. I was in that moving water. It was at that point, and saved up for about another month and just went up to pretty much. Actually, it's funny. I went to got my kayak to where I'm at right now, working part time. I work there Sundays and Mondays at Sandy Point Progressive Sports. So that's where I got my first Jackson kayak. And been on those ever since for sure. But yeah, Jim Salmon's kayak fishing show.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Nick? How did you end up landing in a kayak?
Well, I started off fishing out of a 17-foot aluminum canoe, and got tired of not being able to steer that anywhere, so ended up with a cheap little Sun Dolphin one man. I think it was a 12-footer, and just fished that thing all the time, just run the wheels off of it. Actually, fished it so much I wore a hole through the bottom of it and had to buy something else. So I went and got an Ascend and fished it for a few years. And then you got into the Jacksons, and I never went back. As soon as I stepped foot in one of those, I said, no, that's what I want right there.
Yep.
It's been that ever since, man.
Yeah, your first JK was the Cuda 12.
Cuda 12, yep.
Yeah, Cuda 12. So a little bit of Cuda love there going around there, and that's cool.
Hey Nick, quick question: did you say to Chad you started fishing in them? Because that just made me think of something about the power of the people around you and the boats they're fishing in. I don't know if that's what you said or not, but that's a big thing, right? Everybody has their preferences, but for me, like Jackson, it's been a family. It's been kind of a way of life, and it's really neat to expose other people to, what the boats are about and the people behind the boats. So I don't know. It just kind of clicked in my head when you said that, and I was like, yeah, that's what we do, right? Like we get other people out on the water and do it in an amazing way. So I love it.
Yeah, so it's funny, Josh, because back when I was with Bass Pro Shop before I when I worked with the Evil Empire, and before I came here to Jackson Kayak, there's actually a picture of our other branded kayaks sitting out there. We had 4 of them at the time, and they're all lined up. Yeah, we had a bunch. They were all lined up on the bank. But when we come over here, when I came over to Jackson and started working with you guys, gosh, it's been forever now. Yeah, everything we slowly migrated into the astronomical fleet that we have now between the two of us, which is more than enough for both of our families and probably
several
friends and a whole nother family. Yeah. We have a hard time getting rid of boats. Usually if I'm done with a boat, it usually finds its ways to Nick's house, and then I get like 2 more in its place. So
yeah,
we have a hard time getting rid of very few. I think the Cuda 12 is probably the only one that's actually the Cuda 12 and our old big rigs are the only ones that have actually left the premises. We still have everything else from every Liska that we've ever had is still in our possession. And then let's see what else. I still have a Cruise 12 that looks brand freaking new. It's like oiled up and pristine. Gotta keep it clean. But talking about kayak fishing, I think one of the things that appeals to me when I go out, we've all been paddlers at the start of this. Josh, you was a paddler before you had the motor. Nick's been a paddler. Jesse, you've been a paddler. I've been a paddler. I mean, there's something about when you wake up, you're out there at the first crack of light, and you're paddling across that water in a kayak. Describe that feeling. Kind of tell somebody that's never seen it what it feels like. And I'll let Nick go first. Put you on the spot.
Man, um, it's going to sound corny, but it's almost like a flying. It's just you're smooth and just tranquil. And the water's just glass still, and you just hear the paddle hit in the water. Is all you hear. It's just like soaring right across the top of the water.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. How about you, Jesse? What you got?
That's a pretty good description right there. I mean, you get out there and you get a good paddling boat, like something like the Cuda 14. You give it a couple good paddle strokes and you get that thing to glide, and then you just that first, like he was saying, first thing in the morning, you get that initial calmness, because in Florida here, it gets 11, it's windy most of the day right now. And so that first, just before sunrise, kind of hitting it, getting to your back spot, kind of just creeping up, just a nice glide. That's I mean, it's fun to still go out for a paddle, for sure. It's a lost art for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with the anglers, nowadays it's it's a lot. You're casting. If you're paddling, you're not casting. So we've gotten spoiled. But every once in a while, like I said, it's nice to take that Cuda 14 out and just kind of go out for a good paddle. It's nice.
I will second that. It is kind of nice just to grab the old paddle and go out from time to time. We actually, me and Nick will do that every now and then. It's very relaxing. Of course, we get wore out from paddling because we've been pedaling so much anymore. All right, Josh. It's fun for a hot minute. What you got, Josh? What you got?
Man, first of all, that like epic silence with nothing but that paddle slap. As soon as you said that, I could picture that, exact what it is, right? That picture actually that Shad just shared is from my home lake, and I call it Reflection Eternal, man. That right there is the epitome of fishing from a kayak.
Yeah.
I go out there. I have a very, full life, career-wise, family-wise, everything else, and I've got my issues from when I was in the Army too. And when I get out on the water, any problems I have, they're solved in that moment. Any of that clutter and crazy, jumble in my head, that's clear and gone. And it's just me enjoying my time, in nature, soaking up the sounds of the paddle slap in the water, right? Or hearing those geese off in the distance, or taking in just all of the beauty that's in nature, right? All of it's just this like serene, amazing solitude, this peace of mind that I haven't found anywhere else,
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's kayak fishing. You're just kayaking in general. It's introduced me to some of my best friends in the world. When I left the Army, I had a big hole kind of left in my heart and my life from all those people that I saw and shared all those experiences with day to day. And it hasn't replaced those folks, but it's introduced me to this whole new family and this whole new world of people that maybe seek that same serenity and peace of mind that I do, in a different way. And it's all because of the little plastic boats, and I'm grateful for it forever.
That's
Yeah,
great,
for sure.
man. So for you, I mean, it's had a major impact for you. I mean, coming home from the service and being part of that, and being a bass boat angler first, as I was. Do you, like, I still jump in a big boat. I'm going to jump in a big boat, be in a big boat all next week. it's very difficult to jump back in a big boat. Would you agree with that? I mean, it's
I
not the same.
It's definitely not the same. You know, the mechanics are different. The
The,
feeling, the
the
control is
feeling's
different.
different,
You know, um, I, I
noisy.
honestly, at this point in my life, I could go out and buy a boat tomorrow if I wanted,
Right.
and I don't. If I do buy a boat, eventually it's going to be, like a big pontoon for the family to go in,
Mm-hmm.
right? But nothing will replace, not only the feeling I get in that kayak, but the the amount of places I can go. You know, something I learned coming from the bass boat world to the kayaks is you had to really, one, adjust your body control and know that you're very limited in where you can and can't go physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without that boat flipping or doing some crazy things. But it also taught me gear management to the extreme. I couldn't, come out with half a deck full of, rods. And now I'm down to, if I go pre-fishing or fun fishing, I'll bring a couple rods. If I go pre-fishing, it's like 6 rods, and I narrow it down to like 4 or 3
Mm-hmm.
technique specific stuff. Um, but aside from that, I mean, my tackle is managed much better on the boat because I don't have space for a bunch of 3,700 boxes up in the front deck or some other craziness, right? I have a crate behind me and underseat storage, and that's pretty much what it is. And so it's taught me gear management and self control, and to be more patient when fishing in spots. Even you have to break down an entire area. That's so much smaller than if you're in a bass boat and you're not doing well. You just drop the big motor and go. You can't do that in a little kayak, right?
Right.
And so it's increased my awareness of, hey, I need to really research an area if I don't have time on the water, or if I do have time on the water, maybe look for stuff that's gonna be feature rich and kind of hold fish in different styles of fishing for me, because I don't want, unless I put my boat on the trailer, I'm not getting to another spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Jesse knows. Jesse knows what's up.
don't get me started.
I'm gonna do the Barry White for you.
Bro, you putting on the wrong music for right now, bro.
Josh has been drinking too much.
I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Thanks, bro. All right, so let's jump into these audience questions. Jeremy Baker, what's the most important thing you have on your kayak? You have to have on your kayak. Whoever wants to fill it, let's go.
Yourself. I used to always say my PMD, but damn, it's actually me. I've ended up in the water twice now in all the years I've been kayak fishing, and when I go, everything else ends up going in the water too. So I'd say me.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Oh, let's scroll on down to the next one here. Aaron Dodds, what's your favorite kayak of all time? All three of you got to answer this one.
Oh man,
I'll let you
can't
guys
ask
go
me what my
first.
favorite kid is. That's like asking what my favorite kid is. That's why I kept them all.
Ain't none of them around right now. Just say it.
I'm gonna have to go with the list on that one. That's definitely my favorite. It's just the little boat that can do it all.
Fair.
I'm gonna say the one of a kind all black murder mayfly. I really hope we run that boat again.
That was a pretty boat.
That was my baby. I let her go. I regretted it. I got her back like 2 years later, and then I just let her go to a friend of mine last season because I had to make room. But the Liska, dude, God, if I had a pedal drive on a Liska, I don't think I'd ever fish from another boat again.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
Perfect boat.
100%.
Bobby
So the way it
Dragon
gets
Tales
better.
says his was the his first kayak was the Kilroy in the
Oh
original
yeah, man,
camo
talk
green.
about that all the time.
There's one of those downstairs too.
Yeah, he's got one of those too.
I think I've seen Chris in here too. He's
Yeah.
part of Skating Water.
Let's see. Oh, Mama
Mine's a
Jean.
Cuda 14.
Mama
Oh,
Jean
Mama
is hitting
Jean.
you up. Mama Jean is hitting you up.
Oof.
If you could only throw one lure for the rest of your life, what would that lure be? And I'll let you just saltwater or freshwater. Don't matter.
Oh, see, now you're gonna put me on the spot with my buddies that are in here with their lure company.
You can lie to
So,
them. This is a fishing show.
No, I won't. I mean, my confidence bait right now, and they know too. My confidence bait right now is that Z-Man, whether it be in the 3 to 4 inch, that paddle tail, with a 3/16 to 1/8 ounce jig head, depending on the depth of the water. That's my go-to. I mean, color wise, I mean that'll get a little tricky, but I've been trying to start using those guys though. Really trying to told myself the other day I went out and just used their stuff and try to get that just that thought of being, oh, that's my confident bait, I'm only using this bait, stuff like that. So trying to break it, but yeah.
Can I say 3?
Yeah.
That's what I was. That would have been. They would have been one of my 3.
I mean, I can't pick
Okay.
this one. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, because one of mine would have been my Schooner More Lure Buddies, because I got a.
Well,
that was
let's
my first.
think of it. If you fall
little
in
place.
and you're out there on a stranded island, if you're going to have one lure, you potentially got a whole Plano box that floated up.
Yeah.
You've got 3 lures.
You know,
Well,
Sorry,
one of those,
Keith.
one of those got me. One of my buddies, actually, a little 2.5 inch paddle tail, got me one of my first little tournament top 5s in the
Hell
flounder division. So I can't not go with that for sure. That'll be in there too.
for me, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Z-Man Big TRD in the deal color. It can be rigged several ways, and it more than anything, it just mimics a little bait fish. I know, everybody's like, oh, fairy wand, blah blah blah, but they catch fish, man. They catch a lot of fish, and that color works anywhere. A black neon 10-inch ribbon tail worm, it's black with like red flakes. That works anywhere in the country. Texas frigate with like a little 1/8 or 1/4 ounce bullet head peg, 4/0, 5/0 hook, and you go to work, man. You catch fish that are 12 to 20 something inches, bro. It's gonna happen anywhere. They look like a little snake in the water. And last but not least, man, the Excalibur XRK50, traps, man. Them things, they light it up, especially this time of year, boy. You can't beat them things.
There ain't nothing wrong with a good old rattled bag. What about you, Brummett? What you got?
Yeah.
Cut bait?
Well, I'm not picking one either. I just can't narrow it down to one. If I had to pick one, and it's not going to work all the time, it's going to be a hollow body frog, something like a bullfrog pattern, just a natural pattern. If I've got one lure to watch, I'm going to watch that thing disappear in the pads every time. Other than that, it's going to be a 10-inch power worm and tequila with about a 6/0 on it. That pretty much do me. If I had to throw Cinco, I'll throw Cinco all day long.
I'm surprised the Cinco actually did not beat out the power worm.
I hate
Yeah.
that damn thing. Cinco.
I can't
won't
wait
throw
on
that.
it to sink.
I don't throw it out of spite, man. It takes too
Yeah.
long to sink. The stupid ass little hook. Anyway,
Mhm.
I'm with you. I'm the most. Yeah, we just became brothers. Motors. Do you guys ever run motors on your kayak, and which one do you run? Josh.
I'll tell you, I have. I started out with the Torpedo 403, and then I moved over to a Newport 180 NKS or whatever the heck it's called, equivalent of the 403. Really, it was pretty cool. And then I ended up saying I need to get more power to go upriver and do some of the things that I do, because I kind of do some wild, maybe I should do type stuff on the water, as far as conditions and things like that. And I needed more power, right? If I'm fishing way offshore or some craziness, on a giant lake and you got 4 and 5 foot rollers because the storm front came in you weren't expecting, I need to be able to get back. So I went ahead and I got myself a Torpedo 1103, and that motor, it's a little heavy, kind of a pain as far as the lift goes and all that. But aside from that, man, it is the most efficient and powerful motor there is that I know of, and I love it.
What kind of battery are you running on that?
On the Torpedo, I mean, they have a proprietary 915 watt battery. I have a second one as a backup, especially for tournament days. If it's a big tournament and I got a bunch of people launching near me, I like to have a backup battery with me so I can run wide open the whole way and know that I still will have plenty of juice to get back. I mean, I probably will anyways. I don't usually even have to go over to my second battery in a day. But if I'm really running or not finding what I want and I'm moving, I like having that second backup battery as kind of a fail safe.
And for perspective, Nick, the Torpedo batteries are probably about the size, height-wise, of our 30 amp hour Z Pros. Just a little bit thicker.
Okay.
And two of them really don't take up much space at all, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's real light too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I ran my Newport, I had two 54 amp hour Dakotas running in parallel.
Mhm.
And it would last me a whole day type deal.
Okay.
But I would be running. I'd be running nonstop.
Right.
I was going and pre-fishing and scouting places, so I was moving and covering a lot of area.
And Josh, you're the only one with a motor in this panel tonight, I believe.
Yeah, I'm debating. I've been debating whether to do that XI3 in the bow of the Blue Sky, but I think I'm gonna go. Especially talking with Dustin and Jameson on the during that JK Fun Tour. The on the water innovations, they got a kit for the Blue Sky that literally just switches I can still use my stick steering and then just hook an 1103 to it, and it's like, why not?
Out there like the Jetsons.
Oh,
I'll tell you what.
Hey
man, get with Trey Leach at Innovative Sportsman, and he'll get you squared away. He lives about 30 minutes from me. That's a good dude.
Okay.
I support his business because he's a damn
again?
good person, but he also makes amazing products, dude.
Okay.
So if he doesn't make it, tell him what you want, and he'll probably come up with it. Honestly.
Sure. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Tell him I sent you.
Okay.
Last big question of the night. We're gonna let Christian from up north in the Canadian Goose Land hit you guys with the big question: why Jackson Kayak over other brands?
Oh, you're gonna get in my feels on this one.
Okay, then you can go first, Jason.
It started at well, I mean, it started. It started with watching, like I said, Jim Salmon's, but it really clicked last year when I went to ICAST for the first time, and got to meet Miss Bridget and Will, and I'm trying to remember everybody else. And Charlie. Yep, and. When I met them, it was a demo, morning for the pond to test out all the kayaks. I went there first. I pretty much stayed there most of the time anyway. And they treated me like family from the beginning. I was sweating bullets, nervous, just from seeing some of those, seeing them on TV and stuff, and on the internet. And so once they kind of took me in and just made me feel at home, and may or may not have raced the links with a bite FD and maybe whooped a pro staff guy on the Hobie that had his pro staff jersey on, and he kind of got whooped by about a kayak or so. But we there might be some video of that too. But just the whole week there, I was able to go, and and the last day went in the Orion cooler in the contest. That was that topped it off. After community stuff like that. Oh, did I lose my? Oh, there goes my AirPod. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no. Ever since then, just they've made me feel like family, and I got my call service in my truck with Dustin called me, and I told him, I was like, hey, I seen your video that day of him going up to the factory getting his boats and stuff, and he goes, and I'm like, man, I'd love to go up there for a tour one day. That'd be a dream. And he goes, well, why don't you go up there one day and pick up the factory boats? And I go, what? He goes, yeah, man, I'd like to offer you a spot on the Jackson Kayak fishing team.
Oh, yeah.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so I cried like a baby in the Ford dealership. I was, even like right now, I try not to get all emotional about it, but it's been a dream come true. Doing the JK Fun Tours with Jameson and Dustin, hanging out with them and doing that and shooting for the Road Trip Angler, and I mean, it's been a dream. It's been.
You got a proper hazing as well.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
save
tell,
it for
do
another
tell.
day. We'll save
Yeah.
it for another day.
Another dog talk.
We all know Jameson. We know you got a proper hazing, don't we, Josh?
I don't know about that. I think I haze Jameson. You better ask.
Broke him in.
Touche.
How about you, Nick? Why Jackson Kayak over other brands? What's it been for you?
Man, I'm not affiliated with anybody, so I have the run of the mills. I can pick whatever I want and not have anybody to answer to. Honestly, the only boats that I've been impressed with are the Jacksons. You look at a lot of these other companies' drive systems, and the way I fish, I'd have that thing broke off and destroyed in an instant. We've seen a lot of boats with those flappy things underneath them just get disintegrated in the river over the years. So it's just, to me, Jackson was the only logical choice, and that's the ones that I really like of the Jacksons.
How about you, Josh?
Man,
Cap us off.
I'll tell you what, man. There's a lot of good there's some bad boat manufacturers out there, but there's some good ones too. Hobie and Old Town, they make great products. But for me, Jackson is the perfect blend of consistency and quality and customer service when they don't quite get it right. Those three things as a consumer are huge to me, right? And then you layer in that family feel, right? And I mean, it goes. My first time I ever went to the factory, I did a tour. I think I just maybe joined the team, a year or two prior, and I got there. I think it was I want to say Ian Stewart, maybe.
Yep.
Was there, and he's like, "You want to go on a tour?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" Like, really? And we went there, and it was like kayak mecca, dude. Like, there was some old stuff off in the corner, and he's like, don't worry about that. They took those boats out today, and they were fishing. And I was just like, what? All right, that's dope. And then I come into this thing that looks like multiple football fields of just kayak racks. And I'm just like, holy hell, this is badass. And I went around, I looked, and, there was like the special edition colors and different stuff. And at that time, we could still do, our own colors, right?
Yeah.
And custom stuff. So, I think that time is when I picked up my Mayfly, my all black Mayfly. But it was just cool, man, because like people that I had never met in my life, I maybe had seen them here on Facebook or something. They treated me like family. They came up, they were cool. And throughout the years, I've built these great relationships with all these people on the team, people at the factory. Charlie P is one of my favorite freaking people in the world, man. Him and his adorable little family, man, his little baby. She's so cute, But this is the kind of thing, like, we're fishing from little plastic boats, we're fishermen, we're hunters, we do all these things, but the people behind it is what makes it that much more impactful for me. It makes me 100% JK.
There you guys have, that's like an awkward end to the music. That's lame.
Hey, I got some tracks to send you, bro. I'm gonna send you a link.
These are just my StreamYard. I had no control over it. I just popped them in. I just pop them off.
Can I send them to you?
You can send me whatever you want.
Got some cool little. I don't know, man. They'll get you good.
We need a new intro, is what we need.
I got you.
We all need to work on a new intro for the podcast feature. A Doc Talk intro. Send your clips, guys.
Got you, boo-boo.
So with that being said, we are in an hour and 3 minutes. So I'm going to close this thing out. Let you guys get on with your nights and back to your families. But before we do, we'll go around the room. Let you guys tell the folks at home where to find you on social media, where to meet, greet, and get to know you a little bit more. Whoever wants to go first. I'm not picky on this one.
I'm pretty simple. You can find me on Facebook, Jesse Last Spear, and I always tell everybody, how do you say that? And think of the last spear and take the T off of that, and you're good to go. But on Instagram is Fish on Kayak Anglers, all one word. That's the only two I got right now. I haven't got brave enough to do a YouTube or anything like that yet. So, but pretty simple.
Brummett.
I was gonna say I'll go next. Nick Brummett on Facebook. Opportunistic Outdoorsman on Instagram, and that's about it. I've got a YouTube account that's not been in touch since about 2011, so it's kind of stale. So, yeah.
Josh.
Man, funny enough, so my YouTube is the same kind of thing. If you can find it, you'll find videos of me in the holidays playing a specific white bearded character for the kids, but I bet you ain't gonna find it. Anyways, on Facebook you can find me at Joshua Evans Fishing. Feel free to shoot me a GM if you ever want to chop it up. I'm always open for a little talk, chat, advice, anything. And then on Instagram it's at Tight Lines Sharp Minds. And same thing, hit me up. You know, I'm always about growing people, whether it be fishing or otherwise. You know, I always like improving myself, and I like helping others do the same. So let's get it. Tight Lines Sharp Minds.
There you guys have it. Thanks for joining us tonight on this episode of Doc Talk. And we will see you guys a couple weeks from now on the 11th of May. Doc Talk will return. Thanks, guys, for being here. Thanks for being a great panel. Thanks to the audience
Thanks for
for
having
asking the great questions.
for
You
having
guys
us.
are killer.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Good night,